There should only ever be 4 functions that you do inside the formatter. If you do the editing properly, then there's only 4 things that you need to do inside the formatter, and then you're done and you're ready to publish. So let's take a look at what those 4 things are, and we're going to look at them carefully, and I'm going to show you how that when the content is properly edited, this is very, very easy to do. So the 4 things are, number 1, and this order is extremely important. First thing you do is adjust the images. Images are imported full size. Sometimes the full size doesn't look right in the document that you're trying to produce. So you want to adjust the images first. Then you do the page layout. Once the images are adjusted, because they take a big amount of space, you want to adjust the page layout. Then you dictate what's going to happen in the headers, the footers, and the cover. That's all of the experience that the reader is getting as they go through the document. And then finally, the table of contents and the call to action. Depending upon how you want that to appear, you do one ahead of the other one. And so we'll talk about that when we get inside the platform. So let's see what we have to do. I'm going to bring content in, and we're going to take that content and we're going to apply the formatting to the content. So here is what the content looks like from the editor. Okay, this is just a simple piece of content that I have. I have a headline here. I have paragraph containers here, and then I have some images. Let's see where the images are. You'll take a look at this. This is a very simple piece of content. See the headlines, and there is an image, more headlines, another headline, and then we have an image. So let's save that, and we'll go into the formatter. We're now taking that content from the draft editor into the formatter. I'm going to use this template in this case, and I'm going to call this next, and this is going to be, I'm just going to call it 4 functions so that we can keep track of it. Had I put the proper name on the title and all of that, that would appear here now. And I'll show you how to do that when we get to the editor, when we're on the editor mode. But right now, you'll see that I have paragraphs. Paragraph containers are all as they're supposed to be. So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to take a look to see how this is going to look inside of a completed project. I'm looking for those images. So I've got a header right here that may not be in the right spot. We'll come back and address that in just a moment. Step 2 is the page layout. Step 1 is the images. So let's find the images first. There's the image, came in full. Alright, now what I can do here is grab this corner, hold down my shift key, and adjust that image appropriately. I like for it to be about, it's just over halfway through my document. So what I want to do is I want to word wrap this, and I want to do this. I hit that, and then I'm going to move this text later, but let's adjust all of these things first. Okay, I have one more image to look at. I'm going to take that image and do the same thing with it that I just did a minute ago. Do that, right at half, turn the float on, that floats it over to the side. So that's moved this here. Now let's go back up, and we're going to adjust that previous image right here, and I'll repaginate that, and now I've included that. All right, let's go back down and make sure the other image is where it's supposed to be, and it is. Okay, so that's the first thing on the page layout. Now, second thing that you want to look at from your page layout, and always begin at the beginning of your document and work your way to the end. Okay, now if I want this heading to appear as a new chapter, then I'm going to lay it out differently. So if that's what I want to do, I'm going to grab this new page feature, and I'm going to do that, and that does a new page right here, and then I've got this white space that's left. So as I go, I want to repaginate that as I go. Don't do it from the bottom up, do it from the top down, from the beginning of the document to the end. Okay, so that's the next thing. Going down looking at this, I've got just a tiny bit of white space at the bottom of this. I'm not going to try to fix that right now. Okay, again, same thing. Let me grab this, pull it right there, keep your cursor over to the side while doing that. Hit this, repaginate that, and there we are. We got one more to do, or maybe two. Again, just drop that there. And now each chapter is starting on a new page, which is really how chapters are supposed to work. They're supposed to start on a new page. Okay, I've got that image in the right place. Now, we have one more here. We'll go through here. What we're doing is real simple. We're just simply making sure that the page layout looks proper. So go through the document. Got a little space here I need to fill up. So I do that. Now what will happen to you occasionally is that you'll have a really long paragraph and at the top, and you'll have a bunch of white space here that it won't fill. The reason for that is because it's reading the paragraph to see if it will, that paragraph container, see if it'll fit there. If we can find one of those, I'll show you how to do that. Right here is a good example of that. And so I double click right here before the keep, the word keep, hit this container split, and now I can move this paragraph into that space, and it looks more balanced, looks more appropriate. Okay? Again, we're working on page layout. I'll make sure my page layouts look good. Okay? That's the first thing was the images. The images are then going to tell me that I'm going to have to do some page layout, and I've got that now looking like it's supposed to. So now I have done the images, I've done the page breaks, so I know that my document lays out properly. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to deal with this. Okay, this is going to be, I'm just going to use mental focus blog in this case, and I'm going to edit the link. Click on this, edit the link. That will go to my website about mental focus. All right, put my hyphen in there like it's supposed to be. And now at the end of that, hit the enter key and step out. Now the next thing to do is this little button right here tells me to apply that to all of my footers. So I now apply that to all my footers, and you can see they're all done that way. I don't like that dark gray, that doesn't look appropriate, so we're going to go up here, we're going to change the color of this to a very light color so that that stands out. Now we're going to make this by contrast a slightly darker color, and so I'll move it like that, and that keeps my header and my footer clear. And we're going to give this a name, and now I hit this H tab right here, and it will change every header in the document. So now I've adjusted my images, I've made sure that my page layout looked good. The next thing I've done is my headers and my footers, and now the last thing is I'm going to go over here to my cover page, and I'm going to do it next. Alright, so we'll save this. Go up here to my cover page, click on a cover page image, we'll search for a cover page, and we're just going to leave it like that for right now. Okay, and there's my title. Slide that up. Put my author name right here. And now I've done those things. If I want to add a table of contents, now's the time to do it. Now I have to make a decision if I want to put a call to action at the very end of my document. Do I want to include that call to action in the table of contents? If I do, now's the time to add it. If I don't, but I want it to appear, then I can do it afterwards. All right, I've got an extra page here. We're going to delete that page and see if the call to action will fit here. So let's take the call to action. We'll move it over here, and it doesn't. It has to go to the next page. The call to action takes almost 3/4 of the page, so you can't get it without a whole lot of extra stuff right here. Okay, but if I do this, what it's going to do is pick up this heading here, and it'll use that call to action. So let's go back up, and we'll add the table of contents now. And the first thing I'm going to do, it has to start reading from the very first page. So I'll grab the table of contents, pull that over right there. All right, now I have some options. This is a nested table of contents. It goes two chapter titles deep. So you have a heading, your H1 tag, and then you have H2, H3, H4 tags are below that. All right, for this particular illustration, I'm just going to use this because I've given you other illustrations about that. So what you see here, this welcome to Designrr is actually that call to action. If I didn't want the call to action to appear in my table of contents, then I'd do the table of contents and then add the call to action. All right, now that basically is the completion of my document. So let's save it. We'll publish it, because the best place to see how it's actually going to look is when we publish it. But that is the four functions that you do inside of the formatter. And here's my document. It's 23 pages long. There's my table of contents. And as I look at this, the reason for the white space is because my chapters all begin on new pages. Scroll down, look at this, and I think it looks amazing. Okay? All right, that's the 4 functions that you have inside of the Designrr formatting tool.